the truth about most grass-fed beef. Today, many are seeking out grass-fed beef. It is shown to be lower in omega-6, less inflammatory, and allegedly contains more nutrients. So what exactly is grass-fed beef? In this video, I will outline the facts about grass-fed beef and why you may not be getting what you think you are getting. If you are buying grass-fed beef, then the only real way you can tell the difference is that 100% grass-fed beef has a yellow colouring to its fat content. In grain-fed or partially grass-fed beef, the fat has a whiter colour, but also be aware that colouring can be added to the product to make it appear like this. So, and here are the facts which are not very favourable for the grass-fed beef industry. There is no current legal definition as to what constitutes grass-fed meats. This means that anyone can sell grass-fed meats and label products as grass-fed regardless of what the animals eat. The only requirement is that they have eaten some grass. This could be just a small amount of grass. There is no doubt that with so many seeking grass-fed beef, there will be many unscrupulous meat manufacturers labelling products as grass-fed, which may not necessarily be the case. So what is grass-fed? Most commercially farmed cattle will receive some grain or other concentrated feeds as part of their diet. Now, why? Because the average size cow would need around 70 kilograms of grass per day to meet its nutritional requirements. This is not viable for the vast majority of farms, so they bulk out the cow's diet with grains and other feeds. Now, concentrated feeds can be grains to bulk out the cow's diets or to supplement partial grass feeding. Now, this means they can also be fed pulses, including peas, beans and soya. They can also be byproducts, waste from farming and other food processing methods which do not meet the requirements as being fit for human consumption. Give it to the animals. Several different concentrations may also be mixed with grass or maize to form a mixed feed. This is the most common practice on many commercial farms, and of course there's some grass in there, so they are legally entitled to label that as grass-fed beef. Now, before slaughter, most cows are subject to what is known as finishing. This involves putting more fat onto the cow to improve the quality of the meat. This is usually achieved in cows by feeding a high-starch diet of grain and other high-energy foods. Often a cow is fed with grass for most of its life and then fattened up just before the slaughter with grains. In 100% grass-fed cows, finishing takes longer, so it is more commercially viable to finish cows with grains. These are businesses. The reality is also that many grasses that cows eat are sprayed with pesticides and chemical plant foods. In an ideal environment, like the northern England or Scotland, 1 to 2 acres of grassland is needed to sustain every adult cow or pair of calves. How many farms have got that much land that they can allocate an acre, 1 to 2 acres per cow? Not many. In drier climates, more land is needed per cow. A grain-fed cow can go to commercial market for meat production after about 13 to 15 months. A grass-fed cow goes to market after 20 to 24 months and contains a lot less meat per animal. Grass-fed beef takes up an enormous amount of land and extra time. In business, time is money. Given that most commercial farms lack the space to do this, grass-fed is not viable for the vast majority of farms. A true grass-fed cow is a type that you find in the Alps that roams completely free. Now, unless you are able to closely inspect the premises and observe the routines of the farm, then you can never be absolutely sure that you are getting grass-fed beef. The reality of this is most grass-fed beef is 50 to 60% grass-fed at best, and most often this is grass that's been treated with or sprayed with pesticides. These are commercial operations, and considering that there are no legal requirements or any checks made to ensure labelling is accurate, it seems that anyone can label a product as grass-fed. You should be more concerned in avoiding lab-grown meats, as these are more unhealthy than processed meats, and in a world where vegetables can be sprayed with a coating of acetate, which is a type of adhesive, without being labelled as such, then no doubt it is also possible to sell lab-grown meats and label them as grass-fed. Pop a blade of grass in that Petri dish, grass-fed beef. Idiots won't know any different, will they? And that is how they treat us consumers. They presume that we are idiots. This is the truth of the world in which we live, so seek out a good butcher to source good quality meats. Don't be so obsessed over grass-fed beef, because more often than not, it's not 100% grass-fed beef. Subscribe to this channel and follow this series for more.